Okay, I'm live on Twitch. Come on, YouTube. There we go. Okay, we're live on YouTube. Sorry, I have no idea. I unplugged something and then TikTok Studio just shut down, but I could not stop Twitch and YouTube from being live, so no idea what just happened. There we go. Yes. Okay, we're okay now. Sorry, I think YouTube and Twitch have been watching like random people playing video games on TikTok. Sorry for that. I have no idea. I could not shut it off. It was like everything froze. I had to literally unplug and there. Hi. Okay, Leah. Great. Okay. Everything's fine now. I have no idea what just happened or why it happened. That's the craziest thing ever. Sorry. I thought that probably should have just restarted the live. Okay, we're good. Now, I was gonna play a video from Mr. Global before every single thing froze. Wait, what is happening? Okay, there. Better? I think we're good. I don't know. I think a lot of things are messed up, but I'll figure it out at a later time. At least, okay. I was gonna play this if you're just joining. Well, I'm gonna give it 2 more seconds. Let's tap the screen share live. Sorry, I had my computer just melted down in every way possible. Everything froze. I'm just back on YouTube. Yeah, definitely Twitch. We're live on Twitch. Sorry. I'm sorry to everyone that was forced to watch random people gaming on TikTok. I could not shut off my own live. Yeah, okay, we're good. Okay, cool. I want to show if before all of that nightmare happened when I was trying to figure out why I couldn't cast my iPad. I think everything is fine now. Yeah. And I want to play this video from Mr. Global that he made about this conspiracy like cover up. Well, let me just read it. Tulsi Gabbard's claim is Obama suppressed that info, and then Mr. Global made a video similar to what I was reading right before my live froze and everything went to shit. Trashes Tulsi's effort to distract from Trump's Epstein cover up. And he actually has the clip. I was going to play the clip, but then I found this clip where he's playing it. So saying he's making Tulsi look like a moron and Bondi will be stuck again when no arrests come. Yeah. Either this is like 5D chess, which nothing MAGA ever does is, or Pam Bondi to get over again. Wait, let me make sure this is muted.
The kind of tampering with the voting process that was a concern and will continue to be a concern going forward, that the votes that were cast were counted. They were counted appropriately. We have not seen evidence of machines being tampered with. So that assurance I can provide.
That is Barack Obama's December of 2016 press conference where he publicly states that Russia was not successful in hacking voting machines, basically. Understand that Tulsi Gabbard's claim is that the Obama administration suppressed that information right there and didn't tell us about it. That's her claim. That's the whole case. The assessment suppressed previous pre-election assessments that Russia lacked the intent or means to successfully hack the poll, Gabbard's report alleges. And this is why you don't see a bunch of big-time, like senators, Republican senators, talking about this right now. Hashtag holy fucking airball. As soon as that came out from Tulsi Gabbard, I guarantee you probably a dozen Republican senators called the Trump office and said, "What in the hell did you just do, you moron?" And Tulsi Gabbard is all alone right now. Certainly not the first person in a Trump administration to do something at the request of Donald Trump and then look like a moron when she did it. So she's going to be alone. And what is Pam Bondi going to do? Like, first, they made her look stupid by making her come out and say there's no Epstein list. Now she has to come up with some ridiculous lie about why Barack Obama's not going to be charged. What's she going to do? And I want to remind Republicans of this one thing. While y'all have been waiting for 10 years for some Democratic politician to be charged and jailed for something because that's what Donald Trump has been promising you for the last 10 years, and you sit there waiting for it to happen, and you still think it's going to happen, the only person that's been charged and convicted of crimes in the last 10 years is Donald Trump himself. Oh, and
I mean, true story. And that's the point is Tulsi Gabbard is now set up without providing any evidence, which there is a bipartisan Senate Judiciary Report. I just think that's the most important thing to know is that Republicans and Democrats investigated this and agreed in a 800-page bipartisan report. You know, a lot of things, but the main thing is no one ever said Russia hacked voting machines. They said they weren't able to. Specifically, that's what they said, that Russia wasn't able to hack voting machines, but if interfered in the election in different ways. That is the point of all of this. And I want to show one of the people who authored, led the committee, I guess I should say, that's more accurate, that authored this report is Jim Hines, the Democrat from Connecticut. And he was talking to Margaret Brennan yesterday about this.
Just statement of fact here. A bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee investigation found that the U.S. intelligence community's assessment of Russian interference in the 2016 election was correct. They deemed it to be so on a bipartisan basis. I'm saying that because today and yesterday, the director of the intelligence community, Tulsi Gabbard, has said that she is referring for prosecution former American officials she accused of treasonous conspiracy, a years-long coup against President Trump, because they assessed Russia had tried to influence the election. This is weeks after the CIA director issued a report critiquing the tradecraft that went into that 2016 assessment. Is there any legal basis for any kind of prosecution here?
None. Absolutely none, Margaret. What you saw from the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was not just a lie, but a very dangerous lie, because when you start throwing around language like sedition and treason, somebody's going to get hurt. Now, you pointed out that the Senate committee, then led by Marco Rubio, a Republican and now Secretary of State, found unanimously that Russia meddled in the election to try to assist Donald Trump. John Durham, special counsel appointed by Donald Trump, investigated this, found that the Senate report was correct. Now, what Tulsi is doing, it's a little sleight of hand, but it's worth focusing on. She is saying that the Intelligence Committee early on said that the Russians could not use cyber tools to mess with the voting infrastructure, the machines that tally our votes. And that was true then, and it is true now. Though the Russians tried to break into a couple of states, election technical infrastructure, they didn't do it. But it is well known and well established that the Russians hacked into the DNC and undertook any number of other influence operations, including buying reams of Facebook ads to discredit Hillary Clinton. That is not in contention, right? And what is horrifying about this whole lie out of Gabbard is, number one, it puts people at risk. And right now, the mouth breathers on MAGA online are just going out of their minds based on it.
Imagine a senator is just saying it, like calling MAGA mouth breathers. This, even for Jim Hines, I was like, damn, this is where we're at.
What's horrifying about this whole lie out of Gabbard is, number one, it puts people at risk. And right now, the mouth breathers on MAGA online are just going out of their minds based on a lie. And number two, the intelligence community is full of very, very good people who do their jobs every single day. And now they're watching their leader do something that each and every one of them knows is dishonest. And it is a really, really bad thing for the safety and security of the American people when that dynamic is out there.
And you don't have to be in the intelligence community to know that. I just want to be clear. You just have to be able to read. Like, that's it. If you read the bipartisan Senate Judiciary Report, if you have read the Mueller report, you know that she's obfuscating on purpose and blatantly lying in other parts for Trump. I don't think she's doing this for no reason. I think Trump asked her to do it and she's just like, okay, I'm going to do it. But it's pretty shitty thing to do because, I mean, here, and let me just think before I'm going to play parts of I'm going to play the interview where she says all this stuff yesterday morning to Maria Bartiromo, which again, none of this is true. And she's basically just setting up Pam Bondi for failure because if you can read, and she knows none of this is true. And she's just like, hey, like, oh, I'm just saying this out loud. I'm not providing any evidence contrary to the bipartisan Senate Judiciary report, contrary to the Mueller report. I'm just saying Pam Bondi can look through whatever I think I have, and then she can die. And then she names again, quote unquote, whistleblowers. Yeah.
What was the most damning thing that you learned after looking through all of these declassified documents?
Maria, the implications of this are frankly nothing short of historic. Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. What we saw occur here, as the documents we released detailed, was that we had a sitting president of the United States and his cabinet and leadership team, quite frankly, who were not happy with the fact that President Trump had won the election, that the American people had chosen Donald J. Trump to be the next president commander-in-chief of the United States. And so they decided that they would do everything possible to try to undermine his ability to do what voters tasked President Trump to do. So creating this piece of manufactured intelligence that claims that Russia had helped Donald Trump get elected contradicted.
Just want to be clear, like, if you know anything about the Mueller report, if you know anything about the years in which, and I just mean the timeline, like when Obama was done being president in 2012, right? Every single report that she's saying was manufactured under Trump. Like, that's what's most confusing about this is what she's talking about. And I've read the Mueller report. Like, nothing she's saying makes any sense.
Every other assessment that had been made previously in the months leading up to the election that said exactly the opposite, that Russia had neither the intent nor the capability to try to, quote unquote, hack the United States election for the presidency of the United States. So,
okay, good. That's the point, right? No one, and to my knowledge, because I've read the Mueller report and I've read the bipartisan Senate Judiciary report, no one's ever accused them of hacking voting machines, to my knowledge. I've never read that. As a matter of fact, those reports say the exact opposite. And that's what the clip that Mr. Global was playing says. Like, it's the press conference where Obama says, no, they did not hack any voting machines. So I think that is, I mean, and I don't want it to be this simple. Like, I'm like, God, I really hope they have more information than this, or there's something else. But as far as I can see now, there isn't. She is lying, or I guess maybe obfuscating is a better word. I don't know. Or pretending that Obama said something that he's very much on record at every turn saying the opposite of, that the Senate Judiciary report said the opposite of, that the Mueller report said the opposite of. Right? The Mueller report was about an investigation into links between the Trump campaign and Russia. Right? It has nothing to do with voting machines. The Senate Judiciary report was about Russian interference in the 2016 election. There's a separate CIA report confirming Russian interference into the 2016 election. None of these reports say anything or have ever accused Russia of being capable of hacking voting machines. As a matter of fact, that is why Dominion got the 780 whatever million dollars from Fox, because their voting machines have never been hacked. That's why. Because Trump implied, remember? Trump's camp implied that, does anyone, this is the craziest part about this whole thing, is that it was Trump's camp who was like, this is why we need paper ballots. You can't trust the voting machines. The voting machines have been hacked. But if you can read, which no one can in MAGA, the reports say the opposite. This is not about the voting machines. The voting machines were not hacked. That is why Dominion got money. That's why Smartmatic is going to get a shitload of money. That's why. Because the voting machines were not hacked. And now this weirdo is just lying for Trump and implying that Obama said voting machines were hacked, which he is on record at every turn saying the opposite. This is about Russian interference in elections with everything but voting machines. That's the point. That's what the reports are about. Like all the indictments in the Trump campaign for ties to Russia, Paul Manafort, all that shit. It's not about voting machines. Trump is the one that said voting machines had been hacked. And now they're saying the opposite. It's really weird. And I think, oh no, none of this is true. That's the fascinating thing. I'm sure of it. I've read the Mueller report. I know what it says, which also wasn't Obama. That's the other confusing thing, right? Like, yeah, none of this makes any sense. Except for I think Trump wants to arrest Obama. Like he has some weird, like wet dream about arresting Obama. But if any of this makes sense to you, if you think any of I can't say enough. I've debated MAGA. There are MAGA people on TikTok who've read the Mueller report and would never think this makes any sense. I've met them and I've talked to them about it. If you've done the research, if you understand this period of time, the last person that has anything to do with any of this is Obama. That's the ultimate irony of all of it. What the does this have to do with Obama?
The effect of what President Obama and his senior national security team did was subvert the will of the American people, undermining our democratic republic, and enacting what would be essentially a years-long coup against President Trump, who was duly elected by the American people.
Here's the thing. Russia interfered in the 2016 election and every single election after that, including the last one, the 2024 election. We have indisputable proof of it. There were indictments that went out under Merrick Garland in the last presidential election for Russia's interference in our election. They've interfered in them all. Now, none of that interference had to do with voting machines. Right? So I think it's really simple. This is just all a super distraction for idiots that can't read. If you can read and you have any idea what's been going on, has Russia interfered in every U.S. election since 2016 and before? Let's be real. And before. Yes. Has that ever had to do with voting machines? No. It's that simple. That's it. I don't know. Outside of that, what she could be talking about.
Now, I know that Devin Nunes came out with the Nunes report and a lot of other reports after that to indicate everything that you're saying. And I guess the worst of the reports, the real evidence, is the reports of most recent, right? The last reports are the worst reports that we're going to see. And I understand that there is more, perhaps, that you are going to come out with next week. And I was told that that's why they raided Mar-a-Lago, that they wanted to find the Trump-Russia documents that indicated there was absolutely no collusion and that there was no evidence to even start such an investigation. But Trump didn't have it there in Mar-a-Lago, but that's why they raided his house in 2022. Is that correct?
No. I mean, I could tell you, I've read all the documents. No.
Don't have the details on the specifics of the Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, that means no. What the are you talking about, Maria?
Mar-a-Lago raid itself. Those are within the possession of the FBI. But there's no question in my mind that this intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered be published, which contained a manufactured intelligence document. It's worse than even politicization of intelligence. It was manufactured intelligence that sought to achieve President Obama and his team's objective, which was undermining President Trump's.
I feel like, is she talking about the Steele dossier? Like, I don't know what she could be talking about outside of the Steele dossier, which is, again, Oppo research, which anybody whose brain works knows that the Steele dossier is opposition research. It's not fact. You're not paying for facts to be generating. You're saying, hey, I'm in an election period and I need to know, like, what anyone could say about either me or my opponent. I need to know what's out there in the ether. So if she's talking about the Steele dossier, that's idiocy. Because if you've ever read, some's true, some's not. Like what I should say, what's better to say, because actually that's incorrect to say. Some is substantiated and some is not. That's what opposition research is. It's not saying, hey, can you give me a list of true things? It's saying, hey, if I'm going to run an election, I want to know every single thing that could be said out there. Period. What is floating out in the ether, in the intelligence community, period.
And subverting the will of the American people. So yes, next week we will be releasing more detailed information about how exactly this took place and the extent to which this information was sought to be hidden from the American people, hidden from officials who would be in a position to do something about it. And that's really the point here that I think is most important, Maria, and you said it in your opening. Accountability is essential for the future of our country, for the American people to have any sense of trust in the integrity of our democratic republic. Accountability, action, prosecution, indictments for those who are responsible for trying to steal our democracy is essential for us to make sure that this never happens to our country again.
And I've read all of these documents in question, and the only person that ever tried to do a coup and the Supreme Court said under executive power is not covered was Trump in the fake elector scheme. But you'd have to read everything to understand that, right? And I mean, even under the John Roberts Supreme Court saying presidents are kings who can't be prosecuted, they can do whatever, they can unalive people, they can obfuscate, they can lie, nothing, they can't be held accountable for anything except that fake elector scheme. So, yeah, I have done the reading. What is that? Thank you for the gift. And that's the only thing I know of that someone needs to be held accountable for. This is fascinating to watch her. Like, Tulsi Gabbard.
That right
no
now,
spine.
because I've heard talk of a criminal referral. Are you referring this in a criminal matter?
We are referring all of the documents that we have uncovered to the Department of Justice and the FBI for a criminal referral.
Yeah. And do you believe that we will see prosecutions? I mean, our audience wants to know where this story goes from here. Will we ever see anyone held accountable for this incredible lie on the American people?
I will do all that I can, and we have whistleblowers, actually, Maria, coming forward now after we release these documents, because there are people who were around, who were working within the intelligence community at this time, who were so disgusted by what happened. We're starting to see some of them come out of the woodwork here because they, too, like you and I and the American people, want to see justice delivered. So we're going to provide everything that we have, everything that we will continue to gather to the Department of Justice for that direct intent and that direct purpose. There must be indictments. Those responsible, no matter how powerful they are and were at that time, no matter who was involved in creating this treasonous conspiracy against the American people, they all must be held accountable.
So again, if you're talking about all the Republicans in Congress that participated in a bipartisan investigation that confirmed that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, let's get at all those Republicans in Congress that did that. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, truly. But I feel like this is going to be the same thing it always is, right? Like, is this about Andrew Kleinsmith? Or what's the guy's name? What's the Kleinsmith guy's name's first name? Sorry. Kevin. I said Andrew. Not Andrew. Kevin Kleinsmith, right? Like, who was held accountable, whether you like it or not. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Kevin Kleinsmith was like, they were trying to get a FISA warrant, like, to put someone under surveillance, and Kevin Kleinsmith altered an email to seek a warrant, who was held accountable for that. And I think he was if I'm not mistaken, like in the Mueller report, he was prosecuted for it. But like, the reason I don't even care what happens to him. Like, but he had given the unedited email to other FBI agents. And I think that's why his punishment ultimately wasn't that bad, because they were like, well, if this was some sort of cover up or some weird thing to get a FISA warrant, why did he send the unedited version of it to other people in the FBI? Like, they're like, it's not like other people didn't have the actual version, which I don't know. Like, but he was held accountable in a court of law for whatever he did. And everything else they're talking about makes no effing sense. Like, and yeah, this is just like, I just need to say this. I cannot say this enough. Trump tried with the weird Biden auto pen, but he signed all the J6 pardons with auto pen, and no one gives a shit about that. So now he was mad at Tulsi for telling the truth and saying Trump's dragging us into World War III, and this is like her favoritism is making up some weird smokescreen that doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense. As someone who's read the Mueller report, and this is the thing, you're accusing Obama of doing something, and obviously your own administration, who agreed with everything that happened under Obama. So your own administration under your direction, you're also accusing of something. None of that makes any sense. I don't get it. I don't get how any of this makes sense, except for like, you need a big distraction of you're a creepy 3PDO who was friends with Epstein, like, allegedly. That's all that makes sense in this point. Like, and Tulsi, I don't know how you look yourself in the mirror, because none of this makes sense. And again, I just want to hear this from Jim Hines again.
Just statement of fact here. A bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee investigation found that the U.S. intelligence community's assessment of Russian interference in the 2016 election was correct. They deemed it to be so on a bipartisan basis. I'm saying that because today and yesterday, the director of the intelligence community, Tulsi Gabbard, has said that she is referring for prosecution former American officials she accused of treasonous conspiracy, a years-long coup against President Trump, because they assessed Russia had tried.
Just want to be clear. So every single thing that Obama's intelligence community did was reinforced and supported not only in the Mueller report, which happened under Trump's intelligence community, but in the bipartisan Senate Judiciary report. They all found the same thing. But you would have to read to understand that. So I just want to clarify that not one thing Trump is saying has happened. I mean, unless you're going to put all of the sitting Congress people, the Republicans that keep voting for your bullshit to rob us and lie to us in jail, I don't know what you are implying has happened here. Like, none of that makes any sense to me. There was a separate investigation in the Senate, right? I'm not saying it was built off what Obama did or what Mueller did. I'm saying separately, they investigated all of this and came to the same exact conclusions.
To influence the election. This is weeks after the CIA director issued a report critiquing the tradecraft that went into that 2016 assessment. Is there any legal basis for any kind of prosecution here?
None. Absolutely none, Margaret. What you saw from the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was not just a lie, but a very dangerous lie, because when you start throwing around language like sedition and treason, somebody's going to get hurt. Now, you pointed out that the Senate committee, then led by Marco Rubio, a Republican and now Secretary of State, found unanimously that Russia meddled in the election to try to assist Donald Trump. John Durham, special counsel appointed by Donald Trump, investigated this, found that the Senate report was correct. Now, what Tulsi is doing, it's a little slight.
Trump's appointee. That's my point. I mean, I don't want to harp on this, but this is like the biggest reach of all time from Trump. Yeah, we don't know any of that is true. Oh, wait, I got to show you something funny because Trump's trying to like throw Obama under the bus. I need to show you something funny about it. That Brian Baez made a video on this, which made me cry laughing.
Y'all, Obama really committed treason. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I hate to be the one to come out here on these airwaves and hold myself to the highest standard, not only holding the opposition accountable, but I gotta hold the people that I love accountable too. The Trump administration just came out and said that they have definitive proof that Obama during his terms as president of the United States fucking committed treason. And they just dropped that fucking proof. Here's the definitive proof that the Obama administration.
All right. I just thought that's the most, and this sounds crazy, but you know, I'm into research. That's the most honest, like none of that makes any sense. If anything Tulsi Gabbard is saying makes sense to you, then you can't read and you have no idea what's been going on. Period. Like that was funny, right? That's why I love him. He's hilarious. But I never played this on Friday. And like, I don't even know how he got this picture of that letter at the end, but I want to also play this.
Trump was on a fucking warpath to kill the story about a salacious letter that he sent Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday. The letter, bearing Trump's name, contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy mark. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts, and the future president's signature is squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. Inside the outline of the naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein, written in third person. Based on the Wall Street Journal's description, this is exactly what the shit would look like. In it, Donald Trump sets the scene, says, voiceover, there must be more to life than having everything. Donald says, yeah, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey then says, nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Trump, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. When you put two and two together and see what Jeffrey Epstein was actually prosecuted for, and then have Donald Trump saying multiple times that they have a lot of things in common and that they have wonderful secrets together, the shit is fucking crazy. It gets funnier. JD Vance comes out and says, forgive my language, but this story is complete and utter bullshit. Where is the letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it to us before publishing it? Here comes Donald Trump telling JD Vance to shut the fuck up because he's a fucking liar. In the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch, who by the way owns Fox News and the Wall Street Journal, personally were warned.
Again, what he's pointing out is what I was talking about on Friday, that like JD Vance told one lie and Trump told a different lie. They couldn't get their lies straight. JD Vance is like, we never saw the letter. And like, the Wall Street Journal's like, we showed Trump the letter. And Trump's like, shut up, JD. Like, because, and I explained this, like what happens is before you run a story like this, you contact the person and say, hey, we're going to run this story. Do you have anything to say? Do you have evidence you'd like to add? Like, that's how journalism works. You alert the person and say, is there anything like we need to know before, we're going to make this all public. We fact checked it. Our legals looked at it. Like, what do you think? And JD Vance is like, we never saw it. And Trump's like, shut the fuck up. Like, cause he saw it.
Directly by President Donald J. Trump that the supposed letter they printed by President Trump to Epstein was fake. And if they print it, they will be sued. Clearly, Trump was shown the fucking letter ahead of time before they published it, which is why he says that they were directly told that it was a fake. Then Donald Trump Jr. got in the motherfucking picture and said, my father has a very specific way of speaking. Couldn't have said enigma because it's not in his vocabulary.
I think the Washington Street Journal, it's a book that multiple people have access. I think it was made for Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday and multiple people have seen it and have access to it. And it's real. Like, it's authenticated. And I know that because I love Brian Baz, but I don't think he understands how journalism works. That letter is real. I know that. I know it's been authenticated by multiple sources because I've taken journalism classes at university and I understand the legal implications of publishing something like that with not knowing it's real. Like, that has been fact checked by it went through a whole legal department. That's real. It's real. Because now Trump is very much suing the Wall Street Journal. And for Rupert Murdoch to allow that to go out, they knew it was real. They know they can back it up. They know that other people had access to it. They've seen multiple people say, oh yeah, I've seen this book and it's real. If they couldn't, then they'd be sued within an inch of their lives. And to the point where they'd be out of business. It's real. 100%. There's no way. Trump claims, like, what was the recent thing with the New York Times? And Trump's like, it's not real. And they're like, oh, it's real. Because now, especially look how litigious Trump is. Trump sues people for things he's guilty of anyways, just for appearance. Like, believe, if you understand how journalism works, like, that went through 100 lawyers, 100 journalists, all the editors. They looked at every source. They double checked. They fact checked. Went through the Association of Fact Checkers. It is real. Don't worry about it. It's 100% real. To put that out and it's not real, your life would be over. It's real. There's no doubt about that. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here, okay. I was like, where is this? I couldn't find the clip earlier. This is what I was trying to tell you. Okay. So earlier I played a short clip of KK Caroline Leavitt talking about, a reporter was asking her like, hey, there's senators are saying that they have proof that the FBI is going through and flagging every time your name is in the Epstein files, not to publish it, but so Trump knows what his exposure is. And Caroline Leavitt's like, I know what you're talking about today when she was asked in a press conference. This is what they are talking about.
We are now learning that the FBI was ordered to flag every time Donald Trump's name was mentioned as part of the Epstein files, a Democratic-led investigation involving witnesses inside the FBI and other whistleblowers is turning up that they were specifically ordered at the FBI to look for Donald Trump's name, flag it, and bring it right to the attention of FBI Director Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and Pam Bondi. And this was right around the time that they came up with the first excuse that the Epstein files didn't exist and there was no list. And then Donald Trump said it was all a hoax, folks. Democratic Senator Dick Durbin writes the following: MAGA world right now is completely imploding over the Epstein cover-up. The FBI was told to flag any file mentioning Donald Trump. Why? We need some real answers. And so the Democrats in the Senate, led by Dick Durbin, is doing a very good job on this issue, sent a letter to Pam Bondi about the cover-up right now, about this directive to FBI agents to make sure they brought to the attention of Kash Patel and of Pam Bondi anytime Donald Trump's name was mentioned in the files. We know Donald Trump's name is going to be in the files because Donald Trump has a history with Epstein that I've outlined in multiple videos. Donald Trump's all over the files that have been released. Of course, he's going to be in the files that have not been released. Over 300 gigabytes of files have not been released. We are now.
Just to be clear, it's not to release the files, right? When Trump's saying pertinent evidence, they're combing through all the files. And I don't know, are they going to release all his? Why would they say? Why would you instruct the FBI to find all the mentions of Trump's name? Just release them. We know for a fact, 100%, senators have access to information that Trump has asked people to comb through the files and find all the mentions of his name. Now, is he going to? Now we're going to release pertinent information? This man is a creep. Now, and I just, just for the sake of memory, I just thought, we should all remember this time when this happened.
Right now, Sam Holvey. She's a former Miss USA contestant. She says Donald Trump personally inspected each woman prior to the 2006 contest. So, Sam, look, you talked about this personal inspection, and you said it was the dirtiest you felt in your entire life. Tell me exactly what happened. What did he do?
So we were at Trump Towers doing the media tour in New York City, and so he lined all 51 of us up, and I thought it was going to be, hi, how are you, nice to meet you, that type of kind of meet and greet thing. Mm-hmm. It was not. It was him going down and one by one looking us over like we were pieces of meat, and he was trying to decide which piece of meat he wanted. And I was hoping that would be the end, that I wouldn't have to deal with him anymore. And so then on finals night, when I'm sitting in hair and makeup, getting ready in just my robe, and he comes walking backstage, and I'm so startled, like, what are you doing back here? We're a bunch of women getting ready for a beauty pageant that we've been working towards, Miss USA. Yeah, exactly. Like, why are you back here? And then I saw him walk into the dressing room, just like he has bragged about on Howard Stern, and the audio is out there for anybody and everybody to hear. He brags about this. It's not that I'm accusing him. I'm simply verifying what he himself has said.
So when you hear...
I say, for MAGA whose brains don't work, because I know some of you get it now. I want to believe some of you, your brains are working now and you get it. But for MAGA, those of you who still are in cognitive dissonance and you can't follow a line of logic, she just said it perfectly. E. Jean Carroll was not accusing Trump of anything. She was confirming what he had said. That's all. What Trump has admitted to on tape, what I played on Friday, all E. Jean Carroll was doing was saying, hey, you know what Trump confessed to and laughed about? Yeah, exactly what he said was his, as we say in Latin, MAGA, you can't even read English, so Latin will be beyond you, but his modus operandi that he confessed to, that is exactly what happened to me. So let's just hear it, because I think that's really apropos, another word you guys have no idea what it means, but no one's accusing Trump. We're just saying what Trump said, how Trump said he assaults women. I'm just confirming that's how he violated me. That's all she said. And I think that's fair. And that's all E. Jean Carroll ever
And
did.
he comes walking backstage, and I'm so startled, like, what are you doing back here? We're a bunch of women getting ready for a beauty pageant that we've been working towards, Miss
Right, you're wearing a robe
USA.
with nothing under it.
Exactly. Like, why are you back here? And then I saw him walk into the dressing room, just like he has bragged about on Howard Stern, and the audio is out there for anybody and everybody to hear. He brags about this. It's not that I'm accusing him. I'm simply verifying what he himself has said.
So when you hear Sarah Sanders today coming out of the White House, right, highest ranking woman there, saying this White House has empathy for women like you. Empathy?
It's funny that they say they have empathy, but first they call us liars. So which one is it? And if I'm a liar, I'm just verifying what he said.
Right, and I it's actually interesting you say that. She said there's eyewitnesses who back up his claims. As you point out, you're one of 51 people.
Yeah,
standing there.
exactly.
They all
for
they
like
all saw this happen.
decades.
One of 51, but you guys care about women. 51 women all have the same experience. And again, no one's accusing Trump. They're just saying, based on Trump's own words, I'm verifying that how Trump says he treats women, that is how he treated me. Trump confessed to it in his own words. Oh God, should I just find it again, MAGA? Should we clarify like that? No, that's all E. Jean Carroll ever did. You're like, she's making this up. Well, did Trump make it up when he just was laughing and said, this is how I assault women. Let me describe it to you, Billy Bush. This is my modus operandi. This is my MO. And E. Jean Carroll's just like, yeah, like he described it on tape and laughed about, yeah, that's what he did to me. And you guys are like, she's a liar. Is Trump a liar when he described exactly how he assaults women? And E. Jean Carroll's like, yeah, that's so weird. That's how he assaulted me. But then she's a liar for just saying, yeah, he admitted to all that on tape and that's what he did to me. Who's lying? Is Trump lying when he's like, yeah, this is how I attack women? Who's lying? Trump's a liar? I mean, you tell me. Or is it okay to assault women? You decide. Is it okay what Jeffrey Epstein did? Is it all okay or is it not okay? It's super confusing to be around MAGA because none of you can seem to decide. Anyways, let's just listen. Again, this is not E. Jean Carroll accusing Trump. This is Trump just saying, hey, here's my modus operandi. Here's how I assault women.
Did try and fuck her. She was married.
It's huge news, Sarah.
No, Nancy. Yeah. No, this was marriages, and I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Pull the hell.
Hello, how are you? Hi.
And if I know MAGA, you can't read, but if you read the E. Jean Carroll files, that's what he did to her. Exactly what he casually said. This is my modus operandi. Here is how I assault women without consent. That's all E. Jean Carroll ever said he did to her, is exactly what he just described. Now, here's him in a deposition under oath, confirming that it's fine that he does exactly what E. Jean Carroll said he did to her. Here's him under oath, under perjury, under threat of perjury, just saying, yeah, it's fine that I do this.
And you say, and again, this has become very famous in this video, I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. That's what you said, correct?
Well, historically, that's true with stars.
It's true with stars that they can grab women by the pussy?
Well, that's what it's. If you look over the last million years, I guess that's been largely true. Not always, but largely true. Unfortunately or fortunately.
And you consider yourself to be a star?
I think you can say that, yeah.
I mean, this is how dumb he is. He confessed to it. And then I've got to hear other creepy men who probably have done something similar being like, no, we didn't. Yeah. I just don't respect all of you enough to show you these clips. But yeah, under oath, he just said, yeah. Stars can do this without consent, just so you know, if your brain doesn't work. He just admitted to SA in a deposition under oath. That's it. He admitted to what E. Jean Carroll said he did. Don't wait for consent. This is what stars can do. Just grab them without consent. So for anyone who's ever been confused of why he was found liable of SA, it's because he confessed to it. Unprompted, under oath. And they even gave him a chance. Oh, you're saying stars can do that. If he had said, no, I'm not a star. Not me. That would be what a man who has a brain would say. He's like, nope, definitely me. Me. I'm talking about me right here. The person that is assaulting people without consent. Me doing it to people's vaginas. Me here. The star. I'm talking about me. So in case anyone's wondering why he has been found liable of SA, it's because he confessed to it in a deposition. And they were like, oh, but not you? Just a star? No, I am a star. I'm talking about me. That's why. Because he confessed to it. Use your brains, MAGA. I know you can do it. You can't. You're still in the paper. No, he didn't. She made it up. No, he confessed. And they gave him several outs. And he's like, no, I'm talking about me. This is how me assault people. Me right here, the person that did it. You've got, and believe me, as long as we're on this, because, I mean, this live's probably I'm gonna get in trouble. Let's all tap the screen aggressively, because, I mean, if you think that's the, I mean, I could go on and on and on for hours and hours of all the things Trump's confessed to that are unbelievably horrific. I'll just show you a couple examples of all the things Trump's recently, not, the Ivana stuff, his wife that suddenly just fell down some stairs and never was heard from again. I'm trying to think of how to not get this live taken down, but play this, because I'm not going to be able to play. Sorry, this stuff is so graphic. I'm thinking of maybe I should read it. Ugh, because this stuff is just awful. Okay. Everyone tap the screen, share the live. If you would like to support all my research, this is my Cash App and Venmo. This is my job. Please do support me. Again, let's tap the screen. We do love TikTok Shop so much. I don't know. I might just stop and read it because this is bad.
Suddenly, according to Ivana, that Donald storms into the room. He's looking very angry and he's cursing out loud. You're fucking Donald.
This is his wife. This was in a legal settlement that if he ever wrote a book that involved her, that he would have to legally publish that he had violently raped her. Not SA'd her, violently raped her. And this is the legal settlement of if you publish a book, you need to say that this happened. He ripped out chunks of her hair while violently raping her. But you'd have to read MAGA to know that any of this happened. No, she didn't. It's not that she took it back. It's that part of the legal settlement was that he would not be prosecuted for it. So it's like this weird language where it's like, this is what happened, but I don't want it to be used criminally. Like that's what it's like. If he talks about me, he has to say this in the book, but also I'm not saying it's a crime. I'm just saying this is what happened, like that was the agreement. It's like, I'm not saying this should be used as a criminal thing. I'm just saying this is what he did to me type thing.
Doctor has ruined me.
It was agreement between lawyers to like, oh, I'm trying to think. Actually, I have another clip of this because when it's read like this, it's so much worse. I think maybe this will get me less banned. Can everyone tap the screen?
Comes in a rage and starts pulling Ivana's hair. And then, according to her sworn deposition testimony in their divorce, he raped me, she said. She was so...
this was according to her deposition.
Under threat of perjury and part of the divorce settlement. But Trump didn't do that, right? These are just women that want something. This is why Don Jr. didn't speak to his father for years, because of what happened to their mother.
Under oath during the divorce case.
He raped me.
He raped me. At this point, she is terrified. She runs out of the room, runs down the hall to her mother's room, and locks the door behind her, stays up crying all night. The next morning, again, according to her testimony, she comes creeping out of the thing, sees him, and he goes, "Did it hurt?"
The subsequent divorce settlement included a gagging order, preventing Ivana from publicly discussing their marriage. When Hurt's book was published, it included a statement from Ivana.
I wish to say that on one occasion during 1989, Mr. Trump and I had marital relations in which he behaved very differently towards me than he had during our marriage. As a woman, I felt violated, as the love and tenderness which he normally exhibited towards me was absent. I refer to this as a rape, but I do not want my words to be interpreted in a literal or criminal sense.
Was the divorce agreement. And actually, I don't think this is fair to the truth. I think I should just probably get banned because it's not
Suddenly,
fair.
according
Everyone
to
should know
Ivana,
who this guy is.
the Donald storms into the room. He's looking very angry and he's cursing out loud. "Your fucking doctor has ruined me," he screams at Ivana. The Donald flings Ivana down onto the bed. Then he pins back her arms and grabs her by the hair. The part of her head he is grabbing corresponds to the spot on his head where the scalp reduction operation has been done. The Donald starts ripping out Ivana's hair by the handful as if he's trying to make her feel the same kind of pain that he is feeling. Ivana starts crying and screaming. The entire bed is being covered with strands of her golden locks, but the Donald is not finished. He rips off her clothes and unzips his pants. Then he jams his penis inside her for the first time in more than 16 months. Ivana is terrified. This is not lovemaking. This is not romantic sex. It is a violent assault. She later describes what the Donald is doing to her in no uncertain terms. According to the version she repeats to some of her closest confidants, "He to me, Donald me," she said. When the Donald finally pulls out, Ivana jumps up from the bed. Then she runs upstairs to her mother's room. She locks the door and stays there, crying for the rest of the night. The next morning, Ivana musters up the courage to return to the master bedroom. The Donald is there waiting for her. He leaves, no doubt that he knows exactly what he did to her the night before. As she looks in horror at the ripped out hair scattered all over the bed, he glares at her and asks with a menacing casualness, "Does it hurt?"
That's what he did to his wife. And I have to tell people, and by the way, laughing while on a bus running for president, explaining his modus operandi of how he essays other women, which is ironically exactly what E. Jean Carroll told to multiple people, including a therapist who took notes on it, had happened to her. And all of you people can't fathom that he did this to other people under oath who said this happened to him, to them, by him when they were underage. Wake the up. Either you care about children and women or you don't. You can decide. This is his wife. He did this to. His wife. And yeah, I do think all of you know. Yeah, someone said they know. Yeah, you do know. And this is what you vote for over and over. Not only that, but you've been robbed. We've all been robbed. Like, this is who he is. And you guys are like, oh, I don't know. Why wouldn't he release the Epstein files? I don't know. I can't figure it out. Someone's requesting. Did you mean to request?
I did. There was something you were covering earlier, and I am just going to throw it out there for you to check out. There's a gentleman on TikTok. His name is Black Jack American is Back, and he explains the whole Obama situation and a link and website for everybody to access. And I just thought it would be helpful if anybody wanted to check it out. Again, it's Black Jack American.
Like, just that, Tulsi, you're talking, just to clarify, you're saying like the whole thing that Tulsi Gabbard is making up about the Mueller
just
report?
Pointing it out. I'm
asking you. Like, when you say what I was talking about, I'm just clarifying, not in a hostile way. You mean like
not at
the
all, man.
stuff about Tulsi Gabbard and what she was saying yesterday to Maria Bartiromo about the Mueller report and stuff about Obama?
So here's my take on it, is that I have not read everything about it yet.
I have.
And I haven't. So it's very difficult for me to give a specific opinion on something.
I'm not asking you to clear. I just mean that's what you're referring to, right? Just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah. It's a source. It's a site.
American is what?
Is Back.
That's not the website, though. Is that just
no,
the person's
That's
name?
It's a DNI, I believe, website. Do you have a second source to bring up that video that he just made about an hour ago?
Oh, you mean you're talking about someone who made a yeah, like, I mean, I think the easiest thing to understand is there's a bipartisan Senate Judiciary report that proves every single thing Tulsi Gabbard is saying is incorrect. Like, it was co-authored with Republicans. It's 800 pages. I mean, there's no doubt that Tulsi Gabbard's just obfuscating for Trump. There's many sources that confirm that. You're saying, I just want to clarify, you're saying someone made a TikTok video leading back to a DNI, a site from a former director of national intelligence that provides information that says that what Tulsi Gabbard is. It's not. Yeah, of course it's not true.
It's got redacted emails in it and other sources, right?
Well, because I think like this is my thing. I know it's not. There's separate CIA intelligence reports. There are separate FBI reports. But I think like the problem with MAGA is they don't trust the intelligence community, period. So that's why I say, having nothing to do with anyone in the intelligence community and starting from scratch, the Senate investigated all of it and built from scratch a report that defies every single thing that Tulsi Gabbard is saying now. So I think, I know all about the intelligence reports. Like, it's very clear Russia interfered in the 2016 election, having nothing to do with voting machines, right? but very much having to do with links between the Trump campaign, bots, B threats. Every single election, even predating the 2016 election, Russia has interfered in, and that has been documented. But there is an 800-page report that was signed and confirmed by Republicans in Congress that confirms all that.
Yeah, not a problem. Like I said, I still have to read it and then make my own decision. It was just something I wanted to bring up and drop in your lap to show if it was something you hadn't read yet. That's all.
Yeah, I know the intelligence community knows. I think the reason I stay away from that is because MAGA doesn't trust anyone in the intelligence community. So
I understand. That's fine.
Like the bipartisan Senate Judiciary Report, I think is probably, I understand the intelligence. I've read intelligence reports. They make sense. And the CIA independently confirmed all of this. Again, starting from scratch, doing their own investigation. And there's a really good Rolling Stone article on it as well. Yeah, there's many ways, if you understand secondary source research, to then connect it to primary source research and get there. I agree with you. I don't know if you misunderstood. I agree with you.
Oh, that's fine. Wonderful. I've got to do some reading. I've got to go check it out. I've got to form my own opinion. So I'm going to go read it.
Yeah, no, it's not about opinions, though. Just so you know, this is not opinion. It's about primary factual research that has definitely been done in the congressional record. It's not my opinion or anyone's opinion. It's primary research.
That's fine. Wonderful.
Tulsi Gabbard's
right, well,
just covering for Trump to cover up for the fact he's a creep right now. And buying Trump some extra time before people figure out he's a liar. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
You guys are so... This is why I don't let guests up, because you guys are... I know. I was like... We're a tough crowd. It's a tough crowd here. We're a tough crowd. I know. It was like, no one needs to form any opinions. This is nothing to do with opinions. Like, that is the worst. No one is asking for anyone's opinions about anything. We are talking about primary research, we're talking primary source research, the congressional record, people under oath, under threat of perjury. Like, none of this is questionable. Tulsi Gabbard is just lying for Trump right now to try to get back in his good graces. Yeah, but people don't know, like, and I get it. Like, if you are on X and you don't know what anyone's talking about, it's like, people are like, this is crazy. Oh no, it's very much not crazy. It's just, and if I'm attacking it like, oh God, people are stupid. And I understand, like, if you don't know what anyone's talking about and you've heard this for the first time, it sounds like something crazy is happening. No, nothing crazy is happening. Trump just is a creep and he's trying to cover that up. And so he had Tulsi Gabbard make up lies that are easily disprovable in the congressional record, like bipartisan. I'm not saying Democrats came up with this report. I'm saying under threat of perjury, there was a very long investigation. There was an 800-page report confirming Russia's interference in the 2016 election and every election since then. But no one has ever said that included voting machines. That is the only thing no one ever said. As a matter of fact, the only people that ever lied about voting machines being tampered with is MAGA. They are the liars. That is the ultimate irony, is if you've done all the research on this, the only people that said voting machines have been tampered with is MAGA. Which, it's Freudian, right? It's projection. Like, we're guilty of all the shit, all the lies they made up. Like, that's how it goes. We're all in hell. And Elon Musk is continuing. This is just an article from today. Elon Musk is continuing to just be like, Trump's a liar about Epstein. Like, we should all just stay on the facts that Trump continues to obfuscate about Epstein, which is very much true. But I want to wait. Sorry. Oh, yes. So this is one of the original, Trump has been interviewed by him. God, why do I want to say Mark, but his name's not Mark. It's Michael. I think his name's Michael Wolff. I always get first names wrong. Correct me. This is the Wolf guy that's interviewed Trump and interviewed everyone else about Epstein. And yesterday, right, like he talked to the Mycelis brothers. Hey, Mark. Sorry, McDoodoo's dad. His name's Mark.
I mean, Epstein would often recount his experiences with women, hunting women, pursuing women with Trump, including that at one point in their relationship, they shared a girlfriend for, I think, the better part of a year. But there was, in lots of detail about Trump's relationships with.
I shared a girlfriend, you mean essayed the same person. Yeah, she was recently interviewed on CNN, and I have that clip. It's coming up.
Women that Epstein had observed. A matter of fact, Epstein regarded Trump's relationship with women as, as somehow, I mean, as far worse than his own.
Well, I always tell the story of, like George W. Bush, and how he let like two literal psychotic arms dealers run Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney run the country for him. There's like clips of them, like, selling arms in Libya and all sorts of crazy And George W. Bush said, oh my God, why can't I remember his name? What's the guy that Trump just removed his security detail and he's probably going to die now? His name's John. You guys know what I'm talking about. The crazy guy who was thinking about running for president. Everyone's like, no one wants you to run for president. He's like got white hair and like a creepy, like Bolton. Thank you. See, I don't have to remember anything. Ron Bolton, right? And George W. Bush is like, Bolton's crazy. I cannot work with this guy. This man's a psychopath. Like, we need to get him out of here. And John Bolton's like, Trump's insane. Like, I can't work with that guy. You guys need to get him out of here. It's the same thing with what Michael Wolff is talking about. He's like, Epstein told me, this was like Epstein's biographer, that Trump was insane and his treatment of women was so disturbing that Epstein was disturbed by it. That's what he's trying to say, is like Epstein communicated to Michael Wolff that Trump's treatment of women disturbed him.
So at one memorable moment of an operatic instance of the pot calling the kettle black, Epstein said to me, the problem with Donald Trump is that he has no scruples.
And coming from Jeffrey Epstein, right?
There you go.
And if you don't, Michael Wolff intimately interviewed Epstein for years and Trump. I have another, and he was on Michael Cohen. You can look this, Michael Cohen had him on his show like this weekend.
I mean, first, I don't exactly know what it means, but I know what is at issue here is that the person most implicated by Jeffrey Epstein, by his relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, is Donald Trump. I mean, forget everybody else in what acquaintance they might have had with him. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were the best of friends. Daily contact, constantly in each other's lives, sharing, hunting women, sharing women, cheating on their taxes together, for more than a decade. So that is the central issue here. So how the MAGA people got this so wrong as they kept saying, Epstein, let us, divulge everything. Let's see everything. When what they would see is the relationship between Epstein and the president of the United States, their central figure in their lives and political movement. I mean,
again, this is Michael Wolff, and whoever said that is correct. He has like hundreds plus hours of interviewing Epstein. He was like Epstein's biographer, which, by the way, Epstein's brother tells the same exact story. I mean, everyone in Epstein's life tells the same story about Trump. That if you knew Epstein, Trump was there, right? For 15 plus years, they were lockstep with each other. Someone said they don't trust Michael Cohen. This has zero to do with Michael Cohen. Like, just understand that. This is a journalist who has 100 plus hours of taped interviews with Epstein. It has nothing to do with how you do or do not feel about Michael Cohen. Which, by the way, Michael Cohen, that's the thing. Like, Michael Cohen testified in the Stormy Daniels trial. You don't need to trust Michael Cohen. I've read every document in the Stormy Daniels trial. Trump was not convicted on Michael Cohen being trustworthy. He was convicted on Michael Cohen recording things, Michael Cohen having documents, right? Like, it was a paper trail. It has nothing to do with how you personally feel or do not feel about Michael Cohen. So, and I'm only addressing that just to say you're completely on the wrong track. And I would say read primary documents and understand the Stormy Daniels trial, understand any testimony Michael Cohen has ever given. If you're under the impression that anything Michael Cohen has ever said convicted Trump of any crime, that's just factually incorrect and you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you're not, right? And that's also like, you're saying, hey, the guy that committed crimes for Donald Trump and had intimate knowledge, this was Trump's fixer. And now you're saying, I don't trust the guy that did what Trump told him to do, which is also idiotic because, yeah, he was paid to fix problems for Donald Trump, and you don't like that about him. But that's also, I mean, that's the nature of criminals. Trump is the ultimate criminal, right? He's the mastermind of all that and paid people to lawyers to fix problems for him. And then you're saying, I don't believe the person who fixed problems, but that's why lawyers are smart, right? Like, nothing Michael Cohen, nobody has ever believed a word Michael Cohen has said, or let me rephrase that, has ever been asked to, right? Even though everything he says, he was smart enough to corroborate by legal documents, by emails, by recordings, right? He's smart enough to push record when he was doing this. Yeah, so you don't have to believe him. But that's also like saying, how would we ever convict a criminal, right? That's RICO cases. You have to, it's small fish to big fish. You have to flip people and get them to tell you what the mastermind is up to, and you have to get them to testify against someone else. Or how do you ever convict anyone of anything? That's basically like saying, hey, anyone in a criminal enterprise, we can't believe them. Well, then we can't convict anyone of anything. But it's nothing that Trump has ever been convicted of in a criminal court was based on hearsay. It's based on, unfortunately, paper trails and recordings that he was dumb enough to leave. Oh, now here's another Epstein victim.
Ivana Trump was like her best friend.
And with
Ivana.
Yeah, with Ivana, then, I described that, she'd be there.
That was creepy. So at the time, Ivana had she was doing QVC, selling jewelry, right? Online. I mean, on TV. She was like a QVC queen. Donald Trump. And Donald Trump was always hanging out with Epstein, and Ivana was always hanging out with Ghislaine.
Right.
And Ivana would say, we're going to go pick up Ivana, or Ivana's going to come. And we'd ride in the car with her. And I remember one occasion where Ghislaine's like, I have to get out right now. and she went and got a number from a child, and I saw in a uniform.
Yeah. And
saying that this is Maria Farmer, a victim of Epstein, who's saying Ivana was best friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. And they were all riding together in a car, and Ghislaine jumped out of the car and got a phone number from a little girl in a school uniform while she watched. That's what you're hearing this woman say.
Everybody knew what they were doing. Everybody who surrounded them knew exactly what they were doing.
I can also say, just as an Anglophile, there are many documentaries also in the UK. I always talk about it. Like, if you don't know who Ghislaine Maxwell's father was, he was also a creep. And it was like a very easy transition for her, right? Like what she did for her dad, she almost just like, oh, here's another, I can just do this, right? It's very Freudian. The neural pathways that are dug in from early childhood development, like seeking the love of your father in very disgusting, abusive ways. She's just like, oh, I've been doing this for a long time. Here's another guy, I can do this for him. And if you've never seen like the documentaries that have come out of the UK about who Ghislaine Maxwell's father was and how this was just a very simple transition. Like it all makes perfect sense.
And but how often? Did you go for rides often with her and Ivana?
Yes.
And would she pick up girls all the time?
Yes. She didn't bring them in the car. She would get their phone numbers.
Right.
But she would drive by schools.
Right. So
as they got out.
So would she? Yeah. And what's Ivana doing at this point? What are
they? Sitting in the car. And I'll never forget because one day I was really weirded out by what had happened. I was really weirded out. So I'm sorry, my phone's beeping in. Just give it a second. But anyway, I've got to go in a second. But I just wanted to tell you, I was weirded out when they were driving around with this. So Ghislaine shut me up, gave me one of those cheap bracelets Ivana was selling on QVC, and said, Ivana wants you to have this.
Saying like as like a consolation prize or like a keep your mouth shut, here's a cheap QVC bracelet after she witnessed Ghislaine Maxwell and Ivana hanging out while Ghislaine's recruiting creepy or little kids in school uniforms. Like that's what you just heard. I just say something. Sorry, I have a lot going on in my brain today. I'm not following the comments. Brooke, I am not attacking you. If you think I was, I'm just reading comments. And I feel like you think I was saying something. I'm just saying, hey, everything Michael Cohen claims is verifiable by either secondary or primary sources. I've verified them myself. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you don't trust Michael Cohen, like, you don't have to, right? As Ronald Reagan. Well, I hate Ronald Reagan, but he did say trust but verify. Yeah, I did that. That's all I was trying to say. And, like, I think people are trying to say that, like, people's brains, the chat is harsh here, so no one is attacking you, and I'm certainly not. I just was, I'm just trying to explain to people, because what you are thinking, other people could be thinking too. So I'm just saying, like, hey, if anyone's thinking this, I have looked into all this. Right? Like, I have read every court document. I understand how the case, like the Stormy Daniels case, was formed around Michael Cohen. And it was never about him saying, hey, I saw this happen, right? It was about, hey, I have this recording. Hey, I have this email. Hey, I have this, thousands of documents. Like, so all I was trying to say, not directed in any negative way at you, and we love having you here, and I don't want you to feel attacked. All I was saying is, if anyone's thinking, which is a very natural thing to think, I don't know if I should trust Michael Cohen. It's not about if you believe him or not, right? That's all I was trying to say. The evidence in any way that has ever held Trump accountable has nothing to do with if Michael Cohen can be, it's not off his word of, what he saw. That and federal investigations never are. That's another thing to understand too, like, it's not like Billy saw Sarah do this. It's crimes over the wires. It's wire fraud. Like, that's what gets Trump, right? So that's all I'm saying. Like, the receipts are receipting. Like, so yeah, I think it's very natural to just be like, I don't know about Michael Cohen. You don't have to, but I would say get to know him, because actually, I'll say this. I think when it comes to Michael Cohen's testimony about his experiences with Trump, it's not just, I wouldn't say it's smart to never trust anyone, but all of it overlaps with other people's testimony that is then corroborated. I actually do believe most everything Michael Cohen says, because there are 2, 3, 4 other people telling the exact same stories under threat of perjury. So that's what really got me to realize, like, okay, he's telling the truth. What I was trying to do is not attack you, but reassure you that, like, if I'm sitting here saying it out loud, I think that guy that came up on this live was like, oh, some woman's talking, she might be confused. I'm going to direct her to some random guy's TikTok because maybe she doesn't know. I know what I am talking about because I've read thousands of pages of court documents. That's all I was trying to say. That nothing against you, Brooke. So I never want you to think that. And I think sometimes, like, it's like people's brains, we all come off harsh. I come off harsh. I was trying to tell the guy that came up here, like, I'm not attacking you, but I don't think he ever believed me the whole time. So never, ever think anyone's attacking you. Everyone in this chat is really smart and has ADHD. And then we come off like a little bit harsh, but nobody is trying to. So just don't leave, Brooke. We love you. That's all. It's getting weird, so I have to move on, or it's going to get real creepy. Let's move on to the next creepy allegation against Trump.
Another audio of Maria Farmer, one of Epstein's victims, who came forward very early on, before a lot of the other investigations even took place. And she speaks out about an incident where she was going to Epstein's office building. Donald Trump was in the office building, she says. And Epstein tells Trump, that one's not for you. Yours is in the other room. Here's what she says. Here, play this clip.
The time that is most memorable to me is the time when he hit on me. Because I was in the office. It was one of the first times I started working for, Donald Trump's a sleazebag. Okay.
Yes.
It was when I started working for Epstein, and it was 9:00 at night.
Right.
And Jeffrey Epstein's office was totally empty. And I told the New York Times this, but of course they don't tell the whole thing, right? Even though Mike Baker.
I told the New York Times this. This is why we can't trust for-profit media.
Amazing, but they would not allow him to tell the truth.
Right.
So basically, I go into this office. It's 9:00 at night, and I sit down. And a few minutes later, and I'm wearing running clothes. Okay, so it was really weird. It's 9:00 at night, and I'm wearing running clothes because I didn't have money, so I had to jog up there.
Right.
And so I've just struggled, for so long. So I'm like up there in the office, seated, and I've got my, my running clothes on, so my legs are showing. And in walks this man that, when I reported him to the FBI, said that game show host, Donald Trump, because I thought he was a game show host.
Yeah.
He's so
reported him to the FBI.
Easy, But anyway, so I said, I said hello to him. He walks in, and I just kind of acknowledged him like a head nod or something.
Yeah.
And he immediately he's standing across the room from me, and I'm seated. And he's like, oh, Maria, no, he didn't. Sorry. I was just looking at something. He's standing across the room, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, gross. This guy's so gross. Anyway, he's just glaring at my legs.
Sounds like she met him. That's exactly how I would describe it.
Like, yum. I told my sister, I felt like I was his dinner or his lunch,
Yeah.
the way he was looking at me. So Epstein comes in, and by the way, I did not look good. I was like, I'm not exceptionally beautiful or anything like that. These are just gross people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just like a normal.
Yes, we do.
Person who went on a run, and I'm seated there. So he assumed I was there for him. And this is how I know. Epstein walks up to him and goes, no, she's not here for you. And they were smirking, and Epstein whispered something. He goes, go in there. And so Trump at 9 o'clock at night goes in the other room. Because there's someone in there for him.
Right.
I don't know who. But Epstein said, no, she's not here for you.
I mean, just saying, just talking about some women that met Jeffrey and Trump, just some random stories that people told to the New York Times and to the FBI about Jeffrey Epstein and Trump, but they didn't really know each other that well. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a deal. These people barely knew each other, just two creepies who didn't know which women were there to be assaulted and which women were there for business. They could not keep, I think that's, hold on, not assault. That's weird. Someone asked which women. Let me just look at my notes really quick. Sorry, I have so many clips. I got a little bit mixed up. I think that's Maria Farm. Hold on. Let me put it back up because I also have that is, wait, why? Maybe, hold on. Okay. Yeah, Maria Farmer. That's Maria Farmer. And that was the first one was her as well. Like when she's like, oh, I was in the car with, hold on. I think I started this in a weird place. I have more of these. I've just been skipping around because ever since I restarted the live, I got a little, sorry, this is what my brain looks like. Let me start at the beginning. Okay. Yeah, we're going to need to really tap the screen now because I'm going to play some stuff that's even worse. I mean, I'm just saying, these are just women who are just casually talking about their relationships with Jeffrey Epstein and Trump and when they were around Trump and Jeffrey together. This is over, what day was this? It's the 25th. This was yesterday. Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend went on CNN and was like, oh, I had some interactions with Jeffrey Epstein and Trump. Let me tell you about them. They are they are disgusting. And everyone, oh dear God, I cannot stand this, but it's good. This has to be on tape forever.
You say that Trump groped you in front of Epstein. I do want to note that CNN has spoken to 3 friends of yours who confirmed that you told them.
3 friends. And what I want you to understand, if you don't understand how journalism works, if they were not 150% true that this was real, and they put this woman on this show to say this, they'd be sued. The network would be gone, right? They'd be sued. This is about the president of the United States, right? And that's why they're saying we have 3 people that say this happened, right? And if you've never worked for a huge corporation, like this went through 800 lawyers, like they're like, can we corroborate this? Is this airtight? When the lawsuit comes, because it's coming, can we back it up? So understand, before this gets to air, they are sure. They're sure they can win in court, and they are sure a lawsuit is coming because Trump is that litigious. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. This guy will sue just, to try to create doubt.
Or you say that Trump groped you in front of Epstein. I do want to note that CNN has spoken to 3 friends of yours who confirmed that you told them about this alleged incident over past decades.
That was, sorry. This is the same exact thing that happened with E. Jean Carroll that you guys don't understand. Trump had confessed to his modus operandi, then under deposition, when given a chance to take it all back, being like, no, this is exactly what I do. And she had told her therapist, she had told like 4 friends, she had told everyone who had taken notes. Like, this is the same exact situation.
Can you tell me more about what happened that day and particularly how Trump and Epstein interacted?
Yeah, and before I get into the details of what happened, which, obviously I told you guys and I've shared with multiple outlets, the specifics of the assault that happened, I want to point out that I was polygraphed before I did all this by one of the most renowned examiners in the world. Michael Wolff has hundreds of hours of interviews with Jeffrey Epstein where Jeffrey confirmed to Michael.
It's the guy that Ben Masalis interviewed this weekend. I just showed you 2 clips. Hundreds of hours. He was Jeffrey Epstein's paid biographer. Hundreds of hours.
What the two of them.
This is Epstein's longtime girlfriend. I mean, outside of whatever the Ghislaine Maxwell was.
Did to me long before I came out and told you all of this. So those are 2 critical data points.
Saying is, I told Michael Wolff about this years and years before I was polygraphed, before you interviewed all my friends independently of this, and they told you the same story. That's what they're doing in this beginning is saying, Trump's going to sue us, and we're laying out the case we have. This shit is airtight. We got the best polygrapher. That's what is happening. They're like, come at us, Trump. We have covered every single base, and this is real.
Or you say that Trump groped you in front of Epstein. I do want to note that CNN has spoken to 3 friends of yours who confirmed that you told them about this alleged incident over past decades. Can you tell me more about what happened that day, and particularly how Trump and Epstein interacted?
Yeah, before I get into the details of what happened, which, obviously I told you guys and I've shared with multiple outlets, the specifics of the assault that happened. I want to point out that I was polygraphed before I did all this by one of the most renowned examiners in the world. Michael Wolff has hundreds of hours of interviews with Jeffrey Epstein where Jeffrey confirmed to Michael what the 2 of them did to me long before I came out and told you all of this. So those are 2 critical data points that you need to have, and now I'll walk you through what happened. I was dating Jeffrey. He was always talking about Donald. It was his bestie and everything, and he was joking about how Donald thought I was hot, and Donald thinks I'm this or whatever, wants to talk to you, and he was telling me this as we were taking a walk down Fifth Avenue one day, and he said, let's stop in and see him at his offices. So we went up to his office in Trump Tower, and within a couple of minutes, Donald was outside of his door, and his hands were all over me. They were on my breasts, they were on my butt, they were on, my hips, up and down, while the 2 of them just kept having a normal conversation. I don't remember exactly what was in the conversation.
Clear. He's essaying her while they're having a casual conversation about the weather. There are 3 witnesses that say she relayed this story years ago. She told this story years ago to Michael Wolff, Jeffrey Epstein's paid biographer, and has passed a polygraph from the world's most preeminent polygraph tester. I mean, how many people, MAGA, how many women need to tell you? I know, you don't believe any of them. You got it. It's just Trump's on tape confessing to doing exactly this and saying, when you're a star, you can do it. And they're like, but you're not a star. Are you a star? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm a star. He confessed to it unprompted in a deposition under threat of perjury that this is exactly his modus operandi, and he can do it because he's a star. Now we have woman after woman corroborated over and over and over saying, yeah, this is exactly what he did to me. And you guys are like, he didn't know, Jeffrey. We don't know what happened.
Conversation again, this was, we're talking 90, this is 93 now. It was something about, it was irrelevant. It was like, oh, Stacey's career's on fire. She just did Sports Illustrated again, blah, 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 blah. And they were back and forth, smiling and grinning and carrying on a conversation while Donald ran his hands all over me. And, when that happens in broad daylight in someone's office and an assistant's walking back and forth, you're in shock. If it happens in a dark alleyway, right, you defend yourself. But when it's hidden in its brazenness like that, which is Donald Trump's forte, you go into shock. So I froze, and it was over and very quickly. It was a few minutes. And then we got back in the elevator, and Jeffrey's energy had changed. He was like seething. He was enraged. He wouldn't make eye contact with me. And then we got out on the street on Fifth Avenue, and he looked at me and he just started yelling at me, saying, "Why did you let him do that?" And he was so enraged. And then I remember thinking, like, why did I? I felt like I was coming back into my body at that moment.
Because he wanted you to be the one that didn't let his friend assault you, but brought you there to let his friend, and that was some weird test. Like, oh my God, I could tell you, I'm not going to get into how I was essayed as a child and weird things that happened to me, but yeah, like that tracks. And somehow it's her fault. You're a predator who has a predator friend, and you brought your quote unquote girlfriend to be assaulted by your predator friend because she didn't fight harder, right? And I mean, as someone who's read thousands and thousands of psychological women, there's no way this woman is fighting her way out of there, right? You can freeze, you can fawn, right? You don't have a lot of options. There's nothing you can do. Like, it's delusional. And the choices, Meg, and if you want to know, there is account after account after account of this happening involving Trump and Epstein. And you guys are like, I don't know. Why would Trump ask the FBI to itemize all the times he's mentioned in these files? And then, no. Like, I don't know either. Does your brain work? And then you all sit here and discredit E. Jean Carroll, who just said, hey, exactly what Trump unprompted said. This is exactly how I assault women. That just happens to be what I told every single person in my life after he assaulted me. We're not curing cancer here. MAGA, you guys aren't smart. No one will ever accuse you of that. You don't have to be smart to figure out what's going on here. You just have to decide if you're going to allow women to continue to be abused by Donald Trump.
And how did Epstein talk about Trump? Sort of what was the quality of those anecdotes and how he described him?
There was a time when he mentioned that he had to check in on him because he was unwell and very upset about something that had happened. I remember because he was late to pick me up and he was explaining why he was late. They were just, it was such a long time ago, but it was just that was his bro, that was his wingman. It was clearly, I'd hear about Ghislaine and I'd hear about Jeffrey. And I met Ghislaine in his house. She would come wafting in and out, the home in New York. So he was clearly just someone that he talked about all the time. And again, I met Jeffrey the second time and we started dating based on the reintroduction that happened at the Plaza Hotel at a Christmas party in 1992 that Donald Trump threw.
She's aging beautifully, by the way. How old are you? I thought she was like, how old are you? You look amazing, by the way. Like 1992. Like what? Or were you 5? We don't know. Nobody knows. Was she 5? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'm going to be physically. Actually, never mind. Oh my God. I just answered my own question. Disgusting. Because seriously, 1992? And someone I'm not going to say, I only saw the first part of your name and I don't want to say something, but I just agree. Someone said, you never know how you're going to respond until you're in that situation. And someone who's been essayed, I'll say this, you'll often hear people say that like predators, they know, right? Like people that will, you know what I'm saying, if you've ever been essayed and you've been in this situation. And I think it starts early, right? Like when I was a child and I was essayed at a church by a pastor, like there's no way I'm getting out of that, right? So you just freeze and you just do what someone says and you're like, this is how you survive. You just wait until it's over, you fawn and you freeze, right? And that behavior, that learned behavior of how to survive in those situations, it carries over into adulthood. And I'm saying this because I was a Division I athlete a full ride Division I school. And I'm saying that because I am a larger size. I'm 5'9¾", right? So I'm bigger than the average woman. So like once I got big enough, and was angry enough, I was like, well, if someone touches me, I am going to, it's a good day to die every day. That's how angry I became. But I always thought about this, my brother's wife, she's an adult who could, if she could just be put in a duffel bag at any moment, you know what I mean? She's a 80-pound blonde woman who could just put in a duffel bag and never to be seen again. So if you don't understand why women just have to allow something to happen to survive another minute, another day, another hour, you don't understand the plight of being a woman. And I say that because I'm a 5'9¾ Division I athlete. And one of the scariest lessons I've learned in life is a man 1/5 of my size is still stronger than me. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. It's just science. We have to survive. And what you will do in fight or flight, fawn or freeze to survive, don't ever tell a woman how to survive an assault. Never. Don't say what the right reaction is. One of my biggest pet peeves is, oh, E. Jean Carroll didn't have the right reaction to being victimized and no one believing her. There's no right reaction. I have the darkest humor. People do this to me online all the time. Felice has weird reactions. Yeah, I have been diagnosed with PTSD. I do have weird reactions. I think things are funny that aren't funny. I think I'm telling a joke and people are like, that's sick and dark and weird. Yeah. Don't tell people how to survive. Effing weirdos. And there are men out there. So I just want to say this for the men out there who also, as children and also as men who have been SA'd and no one gives a F about you, or they say things like, you wanted it, or you know what I'm saying, or, oh, I wish it was me. I'm sorry that you have to live in that nightmare as well, where you are invalidated at every single turn and no one gives an F about you either. Because I can't imagine that nightmare either. You don't tell people how to survive. If dark humor, if E. Jean Carroll saying, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll go out and buy something with this money I got after this horrific nightmare where I can't go out in public anymore because nobody, my life's over from this. You don't tell people there's no right reaction. One day I will laugh. One day I will cry. One day I will punch someone in the face who looks at me wrong. Another day I'll be sweet as an angel just to try to be like, hey, I don't want a confrontation today. Every day I'm a different person because horrific trauma changes you. There is no right way to survive things like this. And MAGA, if any of you care about women, if any of you do, then it's time to just wake up and realize this is the reality. Trump was complicit in this. This is who he is. And then you need to decide. And also, furthermore, why is he surrounding himself actively, almost obsessively, with other people who've covered up SA and grape? Are you aware of that? Do you know a lot of people in his cabinet have been credibly accused of grape and SA over and over, and for some reason he seems to actively surround himself with those people? You need to ask why and decide. Am I a man or woman that supports this and covers it up? Or am I going to say, this is not acceptable? I don't want this for my daughter. I don't want this normalized. There are millions of unprocessed grape kits in this country. She wanted it. She was wearing the wrong outfit. Was she drinking? Oh, she was an S worker. Let me just tell you something. It doesn't matter anyone's circumstances. If you don't want at any moment as a woman to have sex and someone makes you, that's rape. That's assault. It doesn't matter who you are, what your past is, what you look like, what you're wearing. None of it matters. And you get to decide who you want to be in this country. A guy who's like, she was asking for it. I don't believe E. Jean Carroll, even this guy, though this guy's on tape describing his modus operandi, unprovoked and laughing about exactly how somehow, literally 20 years before she described all this to her friends, and he just happened 20 plus years later to describe, this is how I SA people. Unprompted. She didn't make him confess on tape. And then under oath, under threat of perjury in a deposition, when he could have been like, oh, I'm not famous, not me. He's like, no, me, it's me. She didn't make him do any of that. Use your brain. If you have one. Or just keep trying to find your way out of the paper bag that you're trapped in. I don't know. Like, we're not curing cancer, okay? We're not asking you to sequence the human genome. We're just asking you, and especially women that are supporting Trump, come the on. You've all been essayed. You guys are, come on. What the fuck is wrong with you? Sorry, that was graphic. I didn't mean to say that, but seriously, come on. Thank you, Chelsea, for the $10 on Venmo. This is my Cash App and Venmo, just like my account name. By the way, if you're not following me, follow me. This is not the usual time I do my lives. I had to babysit 2 toddlers this morning, which reminded me that we have to protect these kids from the Republican Party. That is the truth. If you, what was I saying? Yeah, whether you're watching on YouTube, Discord, wherever, follow me, or subscribe on YouTube. My link tree, if you want to join the Discord, join it. Normally, I do the People's Receipts on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 11:30 Pacific, 2:30 Eastern. So I'm doing this a little late, but it's because I had to babysit. But if anyone that knows me, if you're wondering why I do this, I used to be a teacher and a historical researcher. I have a degree in history. I love doing research. I also have ADHD, and this is how I would teach if I was a teacher again, with lots of clips and lots of swear words, and I would keep people engaged instead of punishing people for fidgeting in their chairs. So I could literally hold lives 24 hours a day of evidence of Trump's links to Epstein. We don't even need the mother Epstein files to know that. But for some reason, Trump has asked the FBI to go through and find all mentions of him, and my guess is it's not because he's going to release those mentions. He's already saying only pertinent information. This is a cover-up. We have woman after woman. Like, you heard that. There are 3 witnesses she told you before. She testified years before to Michael Wolff. She passed a polygraph. But you guys care about women and children, right? Like, come the on. Like, it's getting tiring being in this country. Oh, wait, here's another. I can't remember. I don't have the...
Jeffrey Epstein's former attorney, David Schoen, who also represented President Trump during his second impeachment trial, said this earlier today on CNN. Take a listen.
There is no Epstein client list, that I can tell you, that lists names of people who he purportedly took to an island with young girls or any place else with young women. I can assure you he would have used that to his advantage if there were. And I can assure you the accusers who were involved in those situations, if they were involved with fill in the blank, some famous person, they would have sued by now. Their lawyers are very aggressive and have made millions off of those lawsuits.
What's your response?
Oh, gosh. They did sue. They sued a lot of powerful men. We just don't know about it. Because when you sue somebody...
We do know about some, it is true there were a lot of lawsuits that have been settled, but we just don't know the details of the settlement.
That powerful, they settle. And so there were plenty of lawsuits that the victims filed against these powerful men. That's part of what their lawyers did, and it's been all settled all quietly, and we just don't know about it. So that's just simply not true.
That's true. I mean, we know of the lawsuits, just not the terms of the settlements.
Well, let me just set the record straight. I know what he said that Epstein told him when he was in prison, but Epstein told his own brother, and his brother has been public about this, that he told him that if the public knew everything that he knew about Trump, they would have to cancel the election. And that's his brother's words, not mine. So there is something there. I'm not saying it means that the president did anything illegal or he was involved with Epstein's operation at all. But, the story that he told his brother is different from the story that he told that lawyer, number one. The other point I wanted to make is, he also said there's no list. I agree that there probably isn't a list, but my understanding is that Epstein kept files, and he did keep files on people. I don't know whether the Justice Department got their hands on those files, but Epstein had some kind of records. It might not have been, and I don't believe it was, in a formal list that everybody wants to refer to. So I just think that Epstein told different people different things, and it's hard to know really, what's true and what's not true.
And I think listen, I've read a lot of this, and I've read every grand jury testimony is not going to help us in this, right? Like I said, from grand jury testimony is 0.1% of what the FBI has. And we know that, by file sizes. And Jeffrey Epstein had black books, or he had contact information. He had, I think it was 15 ways or something to contact Donald Trump. But is he list of 3 PDOs? No, that would be stupid. But did he keep allegedly, and I mean this from business contacts and for revenge, information on people? Yeah, that's documented by a lot of people that he had, information on people and was using it as leverage and actively thought that he was going to get out of his criminal cases the first time he was arrested, right? If you ever, I'm trying to think of the way to say this, the information that was released by Ron DeSantis in the Palm Beach investigation, that investigation allegedly, and by all accounts of the files that have been released, was designed to protect Jeffrey Epstein. It was if I give you information about me being a 3 PDO and about, other people involved in this, then I will be protected, right? That's why he hasn't really been held accountable. And I think, oh God, I hate to say this about Tucker Carlson, but I think Tucker Carlson, I've actually heard him talk about this and accurately mirror the research I've done, is that Palm Beach and whatever that district attorney's name was, and ultimately Pam Bondi, who was the AG of Florida, that investigation in a way was designed to essentially protect Epstein, but provide information. And it's really effed up. But he had a lot of leverage on a lot of people. So, that's the situation. But again, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was just somebody who was lurking on kids for Epstein, is in jail for 20 years. Okay. She is, what do you want to call it? A facilitator of abuse, right? Which, be in jail, weirdo. You need to think about your creepy actions. You're a weirdo and a creep, and you need to be in jail for way more than 20 years for what you've done. But she's the facilitator of actual people who are abusing children. And the only thing I've ever respected MAGA for was their inability to let this go. No one should ever let go. I don't care. I've said this, I don't care who it is, right? There are people who pretend to be liberal, who are on the far or on the right, who are abusing children. Every single one. Don't even identify with politics, period, and just have a lot of money. Anybody who has hurt a child should be held accountable for that. And nobody should be able to use money to escape accountability. And my fear is, and MAGA, if you care about children like you say, Trump has set up a government where if you have money, you can buy favors, you can buy policy, you can buy deregulation, you can buy trickle up economics, you can buy pardons. If you have money, you're not a criminal. He has created a breeding ground for rich people to victimize other people and not be held accountable for it. This is factually on paper. You don't need me to tell you this. If you can read, you can just look all this up. So he's created a breeding ground for rich people like Epstein to hurt children. Period. That is the end of the story. Yeah, $5 million, you're a citizen. Period, though. But more concerning, criminals are poor people, right? Because they can't pay me for a pardon. If you're rich, you're not a criminal. I think that's very concerning for MAGA if you care about the children who have very clearly been victimized. You cannot ignore Trump's ties to this man. They were thick as thieves running around creeping on people. Period. I played 3 testimonies of people. None of this would be on public for-profit media if they didn't know that it was airtight. None of it. They'd be sued out of business. This is all just from this weekend. Everything you've seen is just from the last couple days. Just people being like, oh yeah, here's when Trump and Jeffrey assaulted me. Here's when I saw him getting creeping on getting kids' numbers. Do we want to live in a society where if you have money, you can do whatever you want to kids? That's what you need to decide, MAGA. Also, by the way, we've all been robbed by billionaires. That's also something I think maybe some people should consider caring about. I don't know. Just thinking out loud here. I don't know how we're going to continue living like this. You guys need to wrestle with who you are as people and get out of cognitive dissonance. We are in a nightmare. Wait, I think I have some. Oh, yeah. I just want to show, I said, hey, it seems like Trump's surrounding himself. And I talked about this on, if you have access to HBO Max, there is a very disturbing documentary that has come out about, and I say this as a Division I athlete, I could talk to you, listen, this is not unique to Ohio State and what Jim Jordan knew about and covered up, but there's a documentary that has come out about what Jim Jordan covered up and all the Division I athletes who, by the way, when you're a Division I athlete, that makes it sound like you're an adult. We're children, right? When I went to school, I was 17. We're kids. We just happen to be very coordinated and we have adult bodies. We're children who are being essayed, which I could go, this is not, I want to say it's not unique to Ohio State, because understand, this stuff is happening all across the NCAA and it's very disturbing. But for some reason, Trump seems to surround himself with people who are also guilty of this stuff. Again,
let me just be clear. Jim Jordan knew that Dr. Strauss was performing unnecessary genital exams. He knew that Dr. Strauss was performing unnecessary rectal exams. And he absolutely knew that Dr. Strauss was taking showers with us on a daily basis, and also going into the sauna with us on a daily basis. He knows that because he was there with us. Jim trained with us. He took a shower with us. He did saunas with us. There's no disputing that Strauss was taking showers with us on a daily basis, taking saunas on a daily basis, which is a form of sex abuse. Your doctor should not be showering with his patients. And yet it went on for over 20 years, not just in wrestling, but in several sports. Strauss would take showers with not only the wrestlers, but the gymnasts, swimmers, number of teams. He would take 6 to 7 showers a day across multiple sports. I know Jim Jordan also knew about
an expert, but that's too many showers. The answer is 0 showers with your team doctor.
Genital exams, because we had open conversations about Strauss performing genital exams, and we did so in a locker room, let's call it a locker room situation where guys we handled it with humor to some extent, where, you know, Strauss gave me a genital exam today.
I just want to be clear. The documentary that just came out is called Surviving Ohio State. And if you have access to HBO Max, you should watch it. This doctor was drugging children, taking them to a second location and graping them. I mean, the least of which were the showers. But yeah, as an athlete, there was always creepy coaches, creepy people around who were assaulting us. And we would all joke, be like, oh yeah, like our creepy second assistant's at it again. Because you don't know as a child how to deal with these things. So you're just like, oh yeah, that guy is like doing it again. Like the stories I could tell. I was getting acupuncture from one of our team doctors, and then everyone else was like, "Oh, like we're keeping our shorts on." And I was like, "What? You guys are keeping your shorts on cuz he's making me take mine off." Like these are and then we'd all laugh about it cuz it's like, I don't know how to deal with this, so let's just all pretend it's not real. This is the nature of being a Division I athlete. And Jim Jordan is in a gerrymandered district in Ohio, and he sold out children who depended on him for help and sat there and lied over and over and over while they were SA'd. Now, MAGA, if you care about children, is this the type of shit you want to happen? But you care about women and children, right? I mean, we know financially you don't because you're starving children. But I mean, allegedly you care, right? You can decide. These are the people that Trump surrounds himself with. Most of the people around Trump have been credibly accused of SA or rape. The head of CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Committee, he's paid out lawsuit after lawsuit because he's SA'd young men that work for the Republican Party and for CPAC. Look it up. And it's one of Trump's closest allies. His name's Matt Schlapp. Look it up. He did it again this year. He's done it over and over and over. And the more he does it, it seems like the more Trump likes him. Do you care about any of this? I don't know. It doesn't seem like any of you do. It's super weird. All of this stuff is documented. The lawsuits have been paid out. You can look all of this up. There are many witnesses to everything I'm talking about. If you want to know about Jim Jordan letting children be assaulted who are 17, 18, 19 at college, who were depending on adults to protect them, it's called Surviving Ohio State. And I read a lot about what happened with that, and this documentary is 100 times worse than anything I thought. Oh, RFK? Oh, no. RFK has admitted to it. Oh, yeah. RFK is another one. Yeah. 100%. RFK is another one. Pete Hegseth, credible 25-page report. A nice Republican woman who was married, whose husband was staying in a hotel room at a conference for Republican women, did all the right things. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed Christian Republican woman whose husband was waiting for her to come back from the hotel room. There's more than that on Hegseth, documented, allegedly. I mean, whatever. whatever. I mean, and you got it. It just depends. Do you care, MAGA, or do you not care about the people you're voting for and what they've done? It just seems very strange. You care so much about Epstein, but not about his friend, Donald Trump, that was right next to him for all of this. Strange. Super strange. Yeah, I know. I'm just pointing it out. It's so... You know me as Lennon. They don't care. They want to be like, I know, but let's just publicly, I know. You know what I mean? I think MAGA has demonstrated over and over and over and over at every turn. You guys don't care about women. You don't care about children. You guys you don't care about yourselves. Because you have no idea what's actually going on and who Trump is. You know how you call people rhinos? Trump is a rhino. Trump is the swamp. Trump is enriching billionaires and robbing you. You guys can't even figure that shit out. And I'm asking you to care about him assaulting women and children. Yeah, I don't. You guys have, I don't know. Just at some point, you should figure this out because we're all drowning together in a life raft. So if any bit of your ability to reason is still in there, it's time to figure it out now. Now is the time. It would be a good idea to figure out what is going on now, because this is getting, I mean, it's irreparable at this point. Like, we're not going to be able to undo the idiocy and stupidity that your inability to read or figure out what is going on has in fact caused. Oh wait, I don't think I played. I want to make sure I don't miss any of the awesome clips of how stupid you guys are.
And Paula, I hate to do this live on the air. Do you have anything you can share with us?
It's my job, Jake, and
okay.
I'm all over it. All right, so we were wondering, what would they argue? How are they going to convince this judge to release this confidential information, especially because, let's be honest here, their real motivation here is that they are facing a political firestorm and need to make it look like they are making an effort towards transparency. So what they're arguing here is that this is in the public interest to release some of this. Now, the framing is interesting because they're saying since they released that memo on July 6th, discussing the fact that they had done a review, that they were not going to release additional information, that there has been, quote, extensive public interest in the basis for this, and they're saying that they will continue to not release the information that they have and have the power to release, but they're saying that transparency to the American public is of the utmost importance to this administration. And given that, they're asking the court to unseal underlying grand jury transcripts subject to appropriate redactions to protect victims. They say that the department will work with the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District to make appropriate redactions. So they are basing this, arguing that this is all in the public interest and a need for transparency. This is a long shot. The judge is going to have to take some time here. We'll likely have other stakeholders, victims, accusers weigh in on the potential impact of this. And again, a grand jury, that's where you go to seek an indictment. It's a much lower bar than it would be for a conviction. So you present some evidence, but not all of your evidence. And so what will remain here, the question that will remain.
I was looking for a clip to describe how much of this is all bullshit, and I couldn't find. Hold on, I found it. I tried to text it to myself. It's a big file, or I'll just find it in this is Friday. Hold on, I'm just going to go to I think it's easier if I just pull up. Oh, no, it's here. Prepare to be discussed.
So first of all, Donald Trump is the one who tweeted about, or Truth Socialed about this a half hour ago. So this is brand new. And what Donald Trump said to do there is not to turn over all the Epstein files. I really want to make sure people understand the context here of what he did say he wanted released, because it is.
understand what you're going to hear about is how much is in the actual Epstein files and how much bullshit, which is nothing, that Trump's trying to release. This is the magnitude. This is the actual math.
A fraction of a fraction of a fraction of those files. We know from the FBI's memo last week that the entirety of the Epstein files is 300 gigabytes of information. I looked it up. I talked to a tech guy. That's equal to about 100,000 ebooks. Okay, so think about a book, 300 pages, 100,000 of those. That's how much information is in the entire Epstein file. The grand jury transcripts means the written transcript that the court reporter takes of whoever went into the grand jury and testified. So already you are leaving out tons of documents. Most witnesses, as a federal prosecutor, don't even go into the grand jury. They just talk to you in a conference room, not in the grand jury. So we're talking about 1%, 2%, and it's not as if Pam Bondi can just release this stuff tomorrow. She has to go into a court. She has to explain to and convince a judge this stuff needs to be turned over. So
what's the likelihood a judge would say yes or...
That's a great question. Oh, to all of the grand jury transcripts?
There's a weird dichotomy because people are saying they want transparency, and now you're telling me that transparency is probably not going to happen because a court would say no to it.
So this is an important point. Both.
Just understand, because this is, I don't even care about this. That's not the point. Trump doesn't have to go to a grand jury. When he hides behind Pam Bondi, she does. Trump can just release the Epstein files if he wants. But what Trump is releasing is 1%. And and we know people in the Senate are reporting that they have actual proof that Trump has told the FBI to comb through and find the mentions of him. So none of this is going to be real. Whatever we get is bullshit. That won't include him. When we have witness after witness just this weekend coming out and saying, here's my experience with Trump and Jeffrey Epstein essaying me. I mean, this is the reality, but MAGA, you can wake up or you can gaslight yourself and insult the rest of our intelligence. Like, this is why I wanted to do a live today, because this stuff is driving me insane. Literally. Shocking, not exactly, Warner. This is so shocking. And I feel like today, if I've seemed harsh or annoyed, or anyone in the chat has, it's just, this is a hard subject for a lot of us. And like, we have been talking about this for a while. So like, if we seem a little impatient or like, that's all it is. No, we're not trying to make anyone feel unwelcome or like they don't know or their opinions aren't valid. It's just, this is deeply personal and, for a lot of us, and we just have a lot of information on it. So I don't want anyone to feel like their comments or feelings or opinions aren't valid. They are. It's just a lot of us have been dealing with this for a while. You have the appropriate energy for this topic. Exactly. And I think so does the chat, but it's just, we're not trying to make anyone who's entering the chat feel unwelcome. It's just, we're deep in this. You're joining a little late. Like, that's what it is. You've got people whose brains are firing, neurons are firing really fast, and it can seem unwelcome. It's not that. It's just half of us are probably autistic. We're all brilliant and like ADHD. Don't feel unwelcome. We just don't know how to act any differently. But we do have a lot of information. So, right? Like, we have the best information. We just don't always know how to communicate it in a good way. How do I get a Discord link? Great. Because I promised to mention this again, and I didn't. I finally, after 2.5 months, talked to someone at Discord. Apparently, my Discord link should be working fine. In my link tree in my bio, whether you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube or on X or on TikTok, in my bio is a link to join the Discord, and I literally spoke to someone at Discord yesterday, and they're like, yeah, you're doing it right. The link should work. So if in fact you click on the link and for some reason it doesn't, because I think sometimes they think like people are bots, or I don't know if most people are trying to join, just copy and paste the link into a browser and it will work. But I have finally confirmed from Discord that I am not an idiot. Yeah. yeah, they were like, nope, this link should work. So yeah, right now is the time, people. Join Discord now. Tell everyone. They finally were like, no, the link works. And I was like, because it keep getting told, like, I'm trying to have bots join my Discord. And they're like, no, it should work. So I don't know. Maybe now it will work since I talked to someone, but now join now. And if not, copy it. If the link doesn't work when you click on it, paste it into a browser. You are so brave. God, that scares me. Don't say that. Yeah, if I end up dead, if I disappear, please find me. I just have nothing to lose. I'm not brave. I just have nothing to lose. That's what it is. I've engineered my life. I literally have nothing to lose. That's what it is. I'm not brave. I just don't give a fuck anymore. That's what's happening here. I do not fucking care anymore. I'd look for you. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Thank you. That's what please do. Don't leave me in Alligator Alcatraz alone. Because that's probably where I'm going to end up. But yeah, I'm not brave. I just don't care. I'm dead inside now. So it's just like, I'm just going to scream the truth until I'd look for Kenray. God, would I look for Kenray? Ugh. We don't know. I mean, if Kenray gets snatched up in some sort of, if you don't know who Kenray is, that's a good thing. Don't ask. You don't want to know. But if Kenray gets snatched up by Trump, he deserves it for defending him for this long. Kenray's a white boomer who yells at me all the time and suggests that I am, I don't know, a lot of things. He's not great. Anyways, okay. On that note, since I've restarted a search party for Felice, definitely don't let me disappear. Find me. Or at least try, but honestly, don't worry about it. I have nothing to lose. Okay, so I've already restarted the live one, so I'm going to end this now. I'm glad we did this now, though. I feel better because I was so annoyed by so many things this weekend. I will see. I don't know. I've texted Matt twice and I haven't heard back from him. If I don't hear back from him, I'll debate tomorrow or something. I'll let you guys know tomorrow in the Discord if Matt and I are doing our live. No, normally it's at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And I'll let you guys know as soon as I know if Matt's alive. I mean, who knows? He could be. Knowing Matt, God, is he in jail? Nobody knows. Someone find Matt. Look for Matt. I texted him twice today and haven't heard back. So find Matt. That's more important. But if Matt's busy tomorrow doing, children things, then I'll find something else for us to do. Love you all. Thank you. Later, Gators.